Hello everyone, my name is Winona Osaperstikasari with name 211324045 from Economic Education Study Program. Here I will discuss the socio-economic and cultural impacts of globalization. Let's watch the video. Enjoy watching. Lately, many social problems have occurred due to globalization. What exactly is globalization and why can globalization cause social problems? Globalization is a process that is influenced by science, culture, and technology developments, transportation, telecommunication, and so on, which then affects change in various aspects of life in society. Now, I would like to give the reason why this topic is worth to listen is globalization will continue to have an impact and change on everyday life. So it is important to take steps in future so as not to be carried away by the negative impacts generated. As this statement what it took is the era of globalization brings positive and negative impacts both in the aspect of socio-economic and culture. The reason why I choose this topic, first, in today's era, the progress of science and technology is growing rapidly, giving rise to globalization in society. Second, I am interested in knowing the positive and negative impacts of globalization from a socio-economic and cultural point of view. There are 3 points that will be examined in the discussion session. First, I will discuss why globalization can happen. Second, I will discuss the positive and negative impacts of globalization in the socio-economic and cultural fields. Third, I will discuss how to overcome the impacts of globalization. Okay, and then let's discuss more about the socio-economic and cultural impacts of globalization. Have you ever heard of the social problems that occur as a result of globalization? What exactly is globalization? Let's together find out what globalization is and how the impact of globalization, socio-economic and culture is according to the name that I will discuss. First, here I will discuss the meaning of globalization. Globalization is a process influenced by science, culture, technological developments, transportation, telecommunication, and so on, which then affects change in various aspects of people's lives. Next, I will discuss the definition of globalization according to experts. The first is the notion of globalization according to Johan and Kennedy. Johan and Kennedy argue that globalization is a set of mutually reinforcing transformation of the world, which include changing concept of space and time, the dependence of markets and economic production in different countries, increasing cultural interaction, increasing common problems in the economics, environmental, and common problems other. The second is according to Ahmad Suparman. Ahmad Suparman, globalization is a process of making an object or behaviors a characteristic of every individual in this world without being limited by region. The third is according to Malcolm Waters. Malcolm Waters argues that globalization is a social process which results in geographical restriction on socio-cultural conditions becoming less important, which are manifested in people's consciousness. Next, according to Prof. Dr. Mubiarto, he argues that globalization has two meanings. First, as a description or definition, namely in the process of making world markets into a single market. Second, in the economic fields, which makes the economic more efficient and healthier toward the advancement of the world community. And lastly, according to Sean Renner and Pine, who put forward the themes of globalization as the emergence of a global economic and cultural system that makes people around the world a single global society. After we know the opinion of globalization from experts, then we will discuss the meaning of globalization according to the Big Indonesia Dictionary. Globalization comes from the word globalization. Global means the world, Globalization means process. According to the Big Indonesia Dictionary, KBBI, globalization is the process of entering something into the scope of the world. Meanwhile, in general, globalization means the process of integration of the nation of the world into a global system that crosses the boundary of a country. Furthermore, after we know the meaning of globalization, we will discuss the things of characteristics of globalization. The era of globalization is marked by the existence of A. The first is the advancement of science and technology. With the advancement of science and technology, people innovated more and create various things to make their lives easier, shoes and cars, telephones and other tools. Advances in science and technology have made it easier for people in various countries to communicate. Advance in science and technology makes humans faster and so more production. The third is characterized by the rapid flow of information. With the advancement of science and technology, it is easier for everyone to access information from various parts of the world. People can access via the internet, social media quickly and easily. And the last is acculturation, the assurance of interaction that results in cultural exchange or acculturation without realizing it. Along with the development of the times and the development of technology, cultural exchange are increasingly easy to occur and quickly affects each other. For example, hip-hop culture is booming not only in Indonesia but also in the world. After we know the characteristic of globalization, we will discuss the cause of globalization. The reason why globalization occurs the first is the advancement of information and transportation. As the times and the progress of the times make the flow information faster, everyone can receive and find out everything and or event that is happening from various regions quickly. In addition, with the advancement of science and technology, it is easy for people to access and obtain information, facilitate long-distance communication, and facilitate the process of buying and selling online. And in addition, if we want to travel far away, there are already many means of transportation that we can use with adequate facilities, of course. There are also many more online transportation services, for example, like Gojek and Grab. This causes globalization because it affects everyone and brings competition to society. The second is increasing international cooperation. International cooperation facilitates transaction between countries, which in turn increase the number of products coming in from abroad and vice versa. The process of globalization continues to occur over this international trade. The third is an open economic. Global trade that is happening today is because countries in the world are increasingly open to each other, resulting in the exchange of products from one country to another. This product itself cannot be separated from the elements and culture of the country of origin, which can influence other countries. For example, beauty products from Korea that contain ingredients that are not commonly found in Indonesia, but because of the popularity of these beauty products, the notion of Korean beauty is widely adapted by local products. The aspect affected by globalization. The first is the economic aspect, which can be seen from the increase in international trade, where now all buying and selling transactions between countries can be done easily through various types of e-commerce such as Tokopedia, Amazon, eBay. Furthermore, the socio-cultural aspect, which can be seen from the process of integrating values, norms, ways of life to cultural activities in people's life. This refers to the various behaviors of people who are being influenced by global cultures. Example include the influence of music trends from the United States, Korean style, beauty and fashion due to the influence of K-pop. And finally, the political aspect, the era of globalization has created a lot of political cooperation such as the World Trade Organization, WTO, World Bank. Politic aspect in the era of globalization can also be seen from the rise of political activities to promote universal values broadly or globally, such as environmental issues, equality, human rights, and so on. After knowing what globalization is, then the era of globalization is marked by what and why globalization can occur. Then next we will discuss the impacts caused by globalization, both positive and negative impacts in the socio-economic and cultural fields. Positive impacts: 1. Bring up creative and innovative attitudes in the community. With globalization, people have various ideas. This makes people creative, innovative, open to change, and work hard to get work done with the help of information technology. 2. Open job opportunities. There is a tendency for foreign companies to move their companies' production operation to developing countries with the consideration of geographical advantage. The relocation of factories for the production of goods and services certainly opens up job opportunities for residents around the factory. The opening of industries that produce sophisticated communication and transportation tools is one of the efforts to reduce unemployment and improve people's living standards. The globalization of the economic requires the elimination of arbitration and barriers to the flow of capital, goods, and service. When economic globalization occurs, the boundaries of a country will become blurred, and the linkage between the national economic and the international economic will be even closer. Economic globalization, on the one hand, will open up market opportunities for products from domestic to international markets competitively. On the other hand, it also opens up opportunities for global products to enter the domestic market. 3. Make people aware of the diversity in the world. Interaction between countries increase learning about socio-cultural values, ways of life, good mindset, as well as science and technology from other advanced nations. Those cultural acculturation occurs between ethnic groups, between races, which further encourages culture. For cultivating an attitude of tolerance and the spirit of helping people in the world. With the development of science and technology, society becomes easier to carry out activities and encourage them to think more advanced in computer technology, and the internet makes use quickly find information about the Olympics in the United States. A news website with internet capabilities capable of broadcasting live broadcasts of the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia and vice versa. For example, during the tsunami disaster in Aceh, many countries quickly sent food, medical, and medical personnel to help these disaster victims. Negative impact: first, trigger consumerism in society because the times are advancing along with people's incomes that are increasing, giving rise to high level of consumption. Besides, the consumerism occurs because of the influence of culture from outside, which is always updated on technological development. 2. The death of local business due to the sale of goods from abroad. With the existence of free trade that does not recognize national boundaries, it will result in more pressing local goods, especially traditional ones. because they cannot compete with goods from abroad. 3. People prefer foreign culture to local culture. The easier it is for Western values to enter Indonesia either through the internet, television media, or print media, which are widely emanated by the public, which is one of the positive and negative impacts of globalization. With internet technology, satellite dish and TV, people in any part of the world will be able to access news from other parts of the world quickly. For juvenile delinquency, in addition to brings a positive impact from the rapid spread of information with globalization, not infrequently the information also contains negative elements. For example, many teenagers who access things that are not good, in addition with the existence of various things and the acts of teenagers themselves. They definitely want to try new things. If they do not forfeit themselves with fight and are selective, then they will fall into promiscuity, which cause juvenile delinquency to occur. After knowing the impacts caused by globalization, then we as a society and the next generation of the nation must be responsive and must know how to overcome these impacts, especially from the negative impacts caused. How to overcome the impact of globalization? A. Loving domestic products. We must love domestic products is to increase the amount of domestic investment, increase the country's economic growth, increase the number of jobs, increase domestic production, improve people welfare, and increase the amount of national income. Foreign products may look great and can be proud of, but Indonesian products are not no less good. Loving domestic products is the same as improving the nation economics, especially in the micro business sectors. So let's start loving and using domestic products. B. Filtering foreign cultures that enter Indonesia. We have to filter out foreign cultures that enter Indonesia because not all foreign cultures are compatible with Indonesian culture. Indonesia also has many diverse costumes, so foreign cultures must at least match the costume in Indonesia. Globalization brings foreign cultures and modernization makes these foreign cultures at habit. Not all foreign cultures are good. We have to choose them based on the laws and norms that apply in society. C. Take advantage of advance in science and technology for positive things. As a society affected by technological advance, we should sort up technologies that provide benefits for ourselves and others. Many things can be done in a positive direction, such as selling online, developing a freelance business with the skill you have, making creation in terms of design and creative writing that can encourage you to produce educational and positive direction in the use of technology. D. Improving the development of micro enterprise. Indonesia has potential and strength in the realm of micro enterprise. Micro enterprise have several advantages, such as being a provider of cheap goods for household and export, high efficiency and flexibility, high business spirit, high profitability, and high loan repayment capability. A. Make good use of international cooperation. International cooperation should be done as well as possible to expand the network. International cooperation can be beneficial for country by increasing foreign exchange, but it must be regulated in clear laws so that the country's sovereignty is not disturbed. How can we not be easily influenced by the negative current of globalization? A. Close to family, especially parents, open to all problem faced. Communication with family or a least parents is important, at least if our communication is smooth, then our family is more harmonious, more intimate and close to each other, so that we can be open with our parents or family if there are problems, and can be directed to good things so that we do not fall into negative things, and addition we become comfortable at home and are not easily carried away by the negative currents of globalization. B. Choose a friend who has a good relationship. The older we are, the more capable we are in choosing friends, and unhealthy circle of friends will lead you to bad effects. Therefore, we must be wise and clever in choosing friends who can lead you in a positive direction. C. Increase by studying religions diligently, following worship and religious activities to get closer to God is one way to avoid falling into the negative current of globalization. D. Often do positive activities such as your organization. Participate in your organization, your deliberation, mutual cooperation is a way for you to fill our days with positive activities and be directly involved in the community. So in inclusion, there are of globalization brings positive and negative impacts. Fourth, from the socio-economic and cultural aspect, globalization is indeed very good happening in society. With globalization, we can easily access various things, can learn culture from outside, can increase economic cooperation, and much more. But globalization also has a negative impacts or influence on society. We as the next generation of the nation must be able to overcome the impacts, especially the negative impacts of globalization, and must also be able to avoid being affected by the negative current of globalization. That's all I can see about the discussion of the theme I took, namely the socio-economic and cultural impact of globalization. Hopefully useful and add insight for listeners. There is Liz and I'm more apologies. Thank you and goodbye.